I'm coming. If you hand over to government to maintain, the budget the money and share it.
To live in that particular place that the house is. So it's supposed government to really compensate them so that and pay them and relocate them to where they are going and build another house for them.
Careful engineering and management to meet human needs. On this show, we talk about the acquisition of properties, the maintenance and the management of properties to help you save time, to help you save money, and to ensure that you have peace of mind. My name is Fumi Amunega Ajayi, also known as your property doctor. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube at Property Doctor NG, and on Twitter at Property Doc NG. You can also call us on 0903 123 9999. Some buildings in Nigeria collapsed in the past few years, and recently in Lagos State, another building collapsed, and a lot of people lost their lives. Others had injuries, and some faced some kind of trauma. A building can collapse or it can fail because of external or internal factors. When I say external factors, I'm talking about natural disasters like earthquakes, hurricane, like earth tremors, or external human impact like a vehicle accidentally hitting the building or the structure, and so on. Some buildings collapse during construction and others after construction. Both cases are bad.
Hey! Hi! Oh! Whoa!
People are not all big players all forward. People are flesh. You want fun now? Cool. Oh, you go. Not in fun. Not in fun. You want fun now? You know, if you want big place, you come out now. If that big place, all come out. Hey, what?
It is important to know the early signs that a building or a structure will fail or collapse, so that we can avoid stories that touch the heart, and especially to save lives. It is also important to build safe structures and safe buildings, because in case there's a problem, it is good to always be safe at all times. Just know that where you are staying is safe. Today we have a builder in the house who will give us ideas on signs to look out for to know that this building will collapse. I believe if we know that a building will collapse, people will keep away from such buildings. Our guest today is builder Uwede Akowe. He is a registered builder and is a member of the Nigeria Institute of Building, and is so experienced in the business of building production. So we need to talk to somebody who has this knowledge so that we can be educated. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you for having me. A building collapse is an accidental failure of a building structure, either the entire structure or an element of the structure. That is a building collapse.
Okay, that means the whole building can collapse, or just an element. When
Or
you say
an element.
elements, what do you mean by element of the building?
Buildings are made up of elements such as walls, columns, beams.
Okay.
We have the roof, the windows, the doors, and so on.
Okay, so those are the things we call
Yeah, those
elements.
are the
So
elements
those ones
of
too
the
can
building.
collapse.
Any failure, removal, or when it comes down,
Okay,
unplanned.
unplanned.
Yes,
Yes.
that is failure.
That's failure.
Although we used to talk of defects. Defects are when a building does not meet its planned usage. That building has failed. But in this sense, we are talking of collapse. That is failure. Maybe the building came down completely. You know, it's an adverse form of defect.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, like the building that collapsed in Lagos and in so many other places.
Yes.
Some of them collapsed during construction and others collapsed after construction. Now, this particular case that we will be talking about today is about the one that collapsed during construction.
Yes.
For the layman, what are the signs they need to look out for to know that this building will collapse so that they can be safe?
Yes. When you start seeing cracks on building elements, it shows that that building is subjected to load and movements that it cannot bear. Then it shows that that collapse is imminent. Apart from cracks, we have such things like excessive deflection of the building elements or movements of the building elements. Maybe a span that used to be 1 meter, then you now come another day, you now see 1.5 meter. It calls for caution. And you know, buildings generally are made on supporting substructures. They have supporting elements like the soil, the foundation, the columns and the beams that bears the loads of a building. When these supporting structures are deteriorating, when you see cracks or you see them failing, like you see tear and wear on the supporting substructures, it calls for caution. Then we have such things like cracking and popping sounds. The building will not fall without making cracking and popping sounds. So it also calls for caution.
Okay, now you've talked about cracks on the wall.
Cracks on the wall, or the columns, or the beams, yes,
or the slabs,
or the
beams,
or the walls. Yes.
Yes. So if we see cracks, we should be careful. About such buildings. Now you also talked about the settlement of the building. Yes. That is for the foundation.
At the foundation level.
At the foundation level.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of the cracks are due to settlement. When there are settlements on the soil or at the foundation level, the first way you see it on a building is through cracks or deflection. Deflection. Yes.
So the settlement is what causes the deflection that you talked about
earlier.
It
causes cracks.
Okay.
And possibly deflections as well.
Okay.
Which will later lead to failure if attentions are not drawn to it.
So viewers, when you see cracks on the wall, please pay attention to that particular kind of building. When you talk about cracks, you know there are different kinds of cracks on the wall.
Yes.
Now, what kind of cracks are you talking about that we should pay attention to?
Cracks, we have shrinkage cracks. Maybe due to the plaster moisture content changes.
Okay.
And so these are very thread-like cracks that that does not suggest collapse, but the cracks due to settlement, just as you said initially, those are the cracks that that could cause collapse.
Major cracks.
Major cracks.
Visible
cracks, especially on structural elements.
Yes, on
these are columns and beams.
Exactly.
They bear the loads of the building, and so when you start seeing crack on a column and on a beam, it calls for alarm.
Oh, okay. So what can you do to safeguard lives when you start saying that? Because you said the building is going to make a popping sound.
Yes.
You know, the sound will not just come up immediately. By the time we're getting the popping sound, that means the building is coming down almost immediately. What should we do when we see this kind of cracks? on the structural elements of the building?
There are remedial actions you can make to building elements that are failing. You know, those columns can be repaired or maintained after underpinning and so on. But in adverse cases, the best thing is emergency evacuation.
Evacuation, yeah.
When a building is seen not fit for usage, there should be early warning systems. Attention should be drawn to it, and the building should be left vacant to save life.
Okay. So the early warning system that we have learned today is pay attention to cracks if there's deflection on the wall or on the structural element of the building. Most people do not look into the foundation, but by the time the foundation is affected, it will definitely affect the other structural elements that is carrying the building. As a layman, what other signs do you think we need to look out for?
You know, these cracks, even a layman can see it. Also, deflection, a layman can see it. You know, we are talking of an element that is supposed to be straight, and then you now see sag in it. You must not be a professional to see this, except that a professional will take it more seriously than a layman. So my caution to persons that are not professionals in the field is that they must not neglect any sign of failure.
So we can see the deflection, you can see the shift.
You can see the deflection
in the columns. You can
if
see
you are
it
observant.
Okay, you can see it on the staircases as well.
You can see it.
And on the slabs.
On the slabs.
Okay.
You can see it if you are observant.
If you are observant.
And also that is why it's good you employ the services of those that are trained in that field, so that they can also tell you the implications of the things you are seeing.
Okay. All right. So, one last word for our viewers today, so that we can ensure we live in a safe environment.
Negligence. We must avoid negligence. It's part of negligence that individuals will not make use
from
of
who? From everybody.
From both
the professionals, the client,
the professionals,
the workers,
everybody.
Okay.
I think the building is such that it requires inputs from a lot of persons, both the client, then the designers, the construction team, even the users, and everyone has to do his own part.
Okay.
Properly.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us on episode of Property Doctor. Please subscribe to this channel if you have learned something, and don't forget to click the like button. If you have not subscribed, please do so on the button below, and you can leave a comment on how we can stay safe. We hope to see you same time next week on another interesting episode of Property Doctor. Until then, God bless you and stay safe. Bye.
I'm coming. If you hand over to government to maintain, the budget the money and share it.
To live in that particular place that the house is. So it's supposed government will compensate them so that and pay them and relocate them to where they are going and build another house for them.
Careful engineering and management to meet human needs.